What can we expect today and the rest of this week? With some expert insight, we welcome managing partner of Belite Capital, Mr. Gerson Gibbs, back here on the Live Zone. Always good to see you, sir. Welcome back to the show.
How you doing, Guy? Pleasure to have me again. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's jump into it. A lot of folks are worried about, well, let's just say the almighty dollar. So, obviously, we have seen somewhat of a positive day on Wall Street today. I haven't been able to say that as of late. However, that appears to be the case right now. Your take thus far, sir?
Well, my take is it remains the same. These tariffs, we knew they were coming, and this is all a business move. Is Donald Trump putting a fence around the American garden to make sure that he protects the space and protects American businesses? And he put these tariffs in place to ensure that we end up on top in the long haul. And I think that it's a great thing, and I think that the market is going to begin and continue to correct itself.
And so the question is that so many folks are asking, and I think you somewhat pointed it out, but why are investors so shaky right now?
Well, investors are always going to be shaky with regard to the media, depending on how the media approaches things. The media has been really rough on these tariffs, and unfortunately, it's like going back to the gym after you haven't been back in a while. It's going to hurt a little bit in the beginning, but ultimately, you're going to be much better and much stronger if you stick to it. But investors are going to be a little bit shaken up because of the news, the shock of things, the change of things. Change is always a little bit difficult.
All right, so let's talk about one of the big stories of the day. In this case, it happens to surround President Trump in China. Apparently, China now coming out stating that the president, in essence, happens to be bullying them. We know that he, in essence, plans to also impose additional tariffs. And so with that being the case, do you think that this will ever come to an end? The tit for tat, it's going to continue to go back and forth, will it not?
Well, I don't think it's going to be tit for tat. I just think President Trump is a pretty strong and pretty shrewd businessman, and he has a pretty strong business approach. And unfortunately, this hasn't been the stance of America for quite some years. So states like countries like China are going to say it feels a little bit like bullying because it's just change, it's restructuring. We saw what happened with Israel yesterday, and Israel didn't feel that way. Israel felt that, what Trump is doing is right, and they dropped their tariffs or indicated they were going to drop their tariffs and are in line with what President Trump is doing. So I know China is going to be a little difficult because of all the business that they do in the United States. However, I don't think that it's bullying. I just think it's tough business.
All right, so many folks have walked up to me as I take the metro and walk in, and the number one thing they're asking me right now is, Guy, were the tariffs indeed necessary? To which I don't necessarily know if I have an answer. So I'm hoping you can do just that.
Well, the tariffs were necessary because change was necessary. We don't know if tariffs per se were the best approaches, but we're not the presidents, right? President Trump decided what approach he needed to take, and tariffs were the best approach in this particular scenario. The objective is to make America stronger. The objective is to bring more dollars into the pockets of Americans and make the dollar a lot stronger. And I think this is just one of his approaches. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm not sure, but it is effective, and we're seeing that right now.
All right, Mr. Gibbs, we'll end with this, and that is, should Americans and, well, let's say folks that are watching from any and everywhere just woo-saw, take a deep breath and just hold on for the ride? Is that what you would say?
I would say you should definitely woo-saw and enjoy the show. I think this is a great business soap opera that we're encountering right now, and we should just enjoy the show, let things settle down, and then determine what moves we need to make. But right now, just enjoy the show because negotiations are just beginning.
All right, yet again, managing partner of Belite Capital, Gerson Gibbs, joining us right here on the Live Zone. Always good to see you, sir. Make it a great day.
Thank you for having me again, Guy. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, speaking of the market, my next guest says that while the markets may continue to rise,